Hi, horses. Okay. I can explain. Ooh, that's working too nice. Aren't we all? Aren't we all? Uh, POCD. Let's Google that. Oh, that was loud. Okay, that's not good. Oh, they can read my keyboard. Interesting. Jeez. Wall people, huh? They're well, POCD. I'm not gonna type any passwords or anything, but I appreciate that. Okay, let's do a little introduction. Yeah. The PC audio, I understand. Um, yeah. I'll explain for those of you who don't want to Google it. Oh, Daddy would never gaslight you, mug. I've actually never used this, but it's just sitting here. Domino's is tomorrow, right? It's Monday. Okay, we're about to call them. Um, I described the person as female in my announcement, but they're non-binary. But they thought that the non-binary identification would be distracting for the purpose of this conversation because it's not really related. So, the yeah, let's talk about what POCD is first. Oh, well, okay. First of all, this setup is because I set up in my living room so that I can interview my Ukraine expert, but he postponed till Wednesday. So I'll be here today, and I guess that'll probably be the next time I stream. But yeah, I've got two cameras, two mics, socially distanced. It's gonna be good. I don't know. I don't know who's gonna be on the horny panel. I'm still working it out, but I'm in talks with multiple people. The female horniness panel, for those of you who didn't hear me kind of ad hoc announce it. Okay. It looks cool, but like I don't know. This will be a special occasion thing. I could probably change my setup in my office though. Okay. What is pedophilia OCD or POCD? Pedophilia OCD is a term to describe obsessive compulsive disorder in which the person's obsessions are unwanted intrusive thoughts, images, or urges about pedophilia that trigger immense anxiety and fear. The person feels the urge to perform compulsions or safety behaviors. Might as well start recording now. The person feels the urge to perform compulsions or safety behaviors to alleviate anxiety, prevent something bad from happening, seek certainty that they are not a pedophile, etc. For example, a mother might experience unwanted sexually intrusive thoughts about her toddler. That's the obsession. And thus avoid, that's the compulsion, holding or playing with her child because of how terrified she is of the thoughts. Pedophilia OCD is not pedophilia. The obsessions of obsessive compulsive disorder are ego dystonic or opposite to a person's desires, values, and self-concept. The person with POCD is deeply disturbed by their obsessions and does not enjoy them. They want more than anything to escape the thoughts because of how terrorizing they are and go to great lengths to do so by performing compulsions. A person with actual pedophilia experiences sexual thoughts, urges, attraction, and fantasies that are egosyntonic or align with a person's self-concept, feelings, and desires. The sexual thoughts and feelings about children are pleasurable to the person with pedophilia. Now, the DSM says that if you're to be diagnosed with pedophilia, according to the DSM, your sexual thoughts about children or behavior around that have to disturb you or you have to have acted on them in a way that it impacts a child. So I'll probably have some disagreements here. This dude is a pedophile on Twitch. What the fuck? Okay, you're just kidding. I thought I was going to have to explain myself real quick. And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do that. Okay. As an early education teacher, I feel like I've worked with OCD pedophilia or have had thoughts that describe what you said. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Worked with people. Worked with other people who had those thoughts. Okay. Okay. Let's do this. It's really bright. Too bright?
I'm trying to
Whoa.
watch. I
Whoa.
was trying to watch the stream and what you were saying, but I accidentally refreshed and now I'm watching like 6 ads.
Well, good. That's how I make my money. Are, are you saying that you're not going to speak until you've heard everything I've said? Hey, you left the call for a second. Oh, you can't hear me. 1 second, 1 second. Okay, can you hear me now? Hello? I could, now I can't. Can you hear me? Yeah, the other lighting was gloomy. We're going to be going back to that. We're going to be going back to that. Looking sleepy. Yeah, I just woke up. Good morning. I was up real late setting up this Ukraine interview setup. And, like, so when he postponed, I was like, Shaylin, the living room is just going to be an interview studio for the next 2 days. Hey, I can hear you now.
Oh wow, that was quite the delay.
What was?
I was trying to see if I could hear my voice on your stream because I'm nervous that my audio will be shit, but um I said something and then it's just not worth waiting to check. But hi.
Hello. Um, okay, so we're not doing any video, right?
No, sorry.
No apology necessary. I just want to make sure that this is that I'm doing this right.
Got it. I wasn't sure exactly where to start. But I did like the overview you just gave.
Yeah, I don't think we need. I think though. Yeah, I wanted to spare you from, you know, having to educate, and we can kind of just get right into the conversation.
Okay, awesome.
Well, first of all, how have you? Her audio is much louder than mine. Okay, let me. We gotta solve our technical problems first. Okay, I'm gonna turn my gain up just a little bit. Is that is that better? I'll probably be muttering a lot in this conversation given the subject matter. Okay. Who is this? This is an anonymous person,
Well,
female. This is an anonymous female, uh,
that's me.
uh, ex sufferer of POCD.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Female.
Female.
I wasn't. I was planning on continuing with the female thing for this interview, but
Yeah.
since you said that, yeah, I do prefer they them pronouns. But I feel really strongly that I want to like get my points across, and I don't want there to be like anything distracting. So I thought that like adding like this person's not binary, but they sound like a girl would be distracting.
Yeah.
Um, but since you said that, yeah, that's true. And I did give permission for the female in the tweet.
Yeah. Just so I don't get banned.
Yes,
Oh, somebody's asking what is POCD. Let me explain it again, and you tell me if this is correct.
got it.
Like OCD, but centered on pedophilia, someone suffering from POCD experiences intrusive thoughts, feelings, and urges related to children, or is afraid. The website didn't say this, but I think another thing is that they're afraid they're experiencing intrusive thoughts, feelings, and urges, and aren't even sure if they are feelings or urges about attraction to children, and then has to compulsively somehow react to that.
Yeah. So it get like you said, it can get like really meta with the like I'm not even feeling this, but I'm afraid that I might feel this in the future, so I have to protect
Yeah,
myself from that maybe. But
yeah,
yeah, I would say like the clinical diagnosis of OCD, like anyone with what's called a subtype, there's like different subtypes like homosexual OCD, somebody who's like afraid that they're gay and they're not like being homophobic. It just like I don't know, that's just how it is. Or somebody
Well,
who's afraid that
I'm.
they're
I think I'm going to challenge a lot of things you say here, and that will be the first one. That it's not homophobic to be afraid that you're gay. I would say
okay, I love it.
that I would say that is probably the most homophobic thing. That's the core. That's the seed at the center of homophobia. Is that you're afraid that you're gay. You're not afraid that
No.
like your friend is gay. You're afraid that you're gay.
Mm,
You know?
no, I don't really agree with that.
Okay. So what do you think homophobia is, if not the fear that you yourself
What do
are
I
gay?
think homophobia is?
Yeah.
I feel like okay, so I'm not like the expert TM on like gay stuff, but I feel like um the argument that like everyone who is homophobic is just afraid that they're gay is just like
Yeah.
not really true. Like that just doesn't really hold that much water. So I don't think
I
that
think it holds a
that
lot of water.
oh
I think it's like a whole kiddie pool full of water, if you excuse the metaphor. Do you have a
no, I
sense of
love
humor?
that.
Do you have a sense of humor about this?
Yeah, no, I'm totally cool joking about it.
Because the thing
Like,
about because POCD is inherently funny.
you think so?
Not the suffering, obviously, but the yeah, conceptually, I think it's funny.
Okay. No, yeah, I do have a sense of humor about it. I think like 4 years ago or 5 years ago, I would not have had a sense of humor about it,
Okay.
but laughing about it's good.
Okay. So yeah, I think that being afraid you yourself are gay is the central, is like the core tenet of homophobia. Yeah.
Um,
I know that's not a popular thing to say, but I think that comes from like a progressive desire to be able to just freely hate homophobic people without having to worry that like, oh,
mm,
maybe they're actually gay. And I feel like it's freeing to just be like, no, they're just shitty. Shittiness is the origin of homophobia. It's hateful shittiness. But I think that a more I guess I just think a more empathetic stance is that
I mean,
it's a
I can see what you're saying. Like, I have to hate these people because like my family does, and like everyone I know does, and like I don't
yeah.
know. I don't know though. I don't think I agree with you, but it's okay. I don't feel like I have to. But anyway, back to what I was saying. there's different subtypes, is what it's called, of OCD, but none of them are an actual diagnosis. So, like, you can't be diagnosed with POCD. The diagnosis would just be OCD, and then your thoughts would be like the subtype. But no doctor, I don't think a doctor would say you have
You
like
have POCD.
POCD. Yeah,
Right.
right.
It's I would assume that the interest in the subtype would be more about finding other people to talk about it with or support groups.
Yeah, it's like yeah, it's like a short form way to communicate a larger concept. Like instead of saying like I have intrusive images of children and me hurting them or something
Yeah.
like that, like you don't have to go into any of that. You can just say I'm like this and they can either understand you or not.
Yeah, that makes sense because it's a if you're obsessed with hand washing or whatever, that's it's not stigmatizing. But if you tell people, I mean, there's a reason that your camera's off.
Yeah, I'm looking for jobs. I'm 21. Can't really have this like my face out there talking about my
Okay.
fucking pedophilia fear.
Yeah, sure. With me particularly. Um, okay, I'm
I'm
gonna
not
hide.
embarrassed to be talking to you. I'm offended by that.
I'm not saying you're embarrassed. I'm saying that your potential employers, I think it's not like if you were talking to a well-respected Harvard psychiatrist, for example, then that would be
With a
less
sweatshirt on.
embarrassing.
Yeah.
It would be less embarrassing to potential employers. I would think. But if you're talking to Mr. Girl, then that you know that adds a layer of suspiciousness to what you're saying.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
Okay, I want to respond to something you just said, or
Okay.
ask you about it because you said that you. Oh yeah, I'm gonna hide the chat right now because I feel like
Okay, yeah.
I think you should hide the chat.
I've closed everything. I'm not looking at anything for like a fucking week. I'm not I can't
Okay.
I don't think yeah, no.
So
Okay.
I think if we have like a natural breaking point between topics, I can kind of check in with the chat and see what they're saying. But you know,
Okay. I trust your judgment.
yeah. For now, I think that they're not going to be helpful. Um, okay, so you said you're 21,
Yeah.
and you said 4 or 5 years ago you wouldn't have had a sense of humor about this, which means that you were deep in the POCD at age 16.
Yeah, so okay. Should I just like give my
Sure.
timeline? Okay. So, I think a mm, so for me my POCD started when I was 9. Um and I didn't have the language for that. But I was definitely like I think for most people there's like an inciting event. Like there's like a saying that genetics load the gun and then environment pulls the trigger. So like in your genetics is like OCD or whatever it is, and then something in your environment like sets that off. So I think like genetically I was predisposed to OCD specifically. Um, but when I was 9, um, another kid that I knew did something to me and I didn't stop them. And that the fact that I didn't stop them and just had kind of frozen was my obsession. Like mine, some people call this like real event OCD, but I feel like that's just like, I feel like that's an unnecessary term. Um, like, yeah. Um,
That the labeling can become a little OCD in itself.
Law. Yeah, I guess so. Um, yeah, so so I would be like 9, 10 years old, like watching like pedophile documentaries on Netflix and Hulu. Or fuck, did Hulu even exist? Definitely Netflix. I remember it was called like The Pedophile Next Door, and it was about like destigmatizing pedophilia. But it didn't like, because my thoughts are irrational and I'm not a pedophile, that didn't make me feel any better. Um, and like, yeah, a big part of it is a lot of like Googling. So I would like, I feel like I'm saying like a lot, but I'm being vulnerable and also I'm laughing. But part of the laughing is that in retrospect, it's like silly to me. And the other part of the laughing is that I really struggle with like I don't want people to feel bad for me ever. So like, and I don't like know if what I'm saying is something that would make someone feel bad for me, but it's kind of like mentally like me wanting to like comfort whoever I'm talking to that I'm okay talking about it and I don't like I'm not saying it because I'm looking for support. So that's why I'm kind of laughing as I'm talking about this to make that clear.
I don't think it's possible to consent to a conversation with me.
Um,
Continue.
okay. Um, okay. Um, yeah, so super obsessed all day, every day. Um, I had been in therapy since I was 8, um, for like pretty unserious reasons, like just, you know, having a hard time in school focusing and stuff. They thought I had ADHD, but I was actually just obsessed with this. Not when I was 8. At 8, I don't remember, obviously, because I was fucking 8, but I don't know what
Mm-hmm.
it was then. But when I was 9, it became this. Um, but I didn't talk to my therapist about this because I thought I would go to jail. Like, I thought she would be like, okay, we're going to jail. Um,
Uh, at,
which
at at what age you were afraid you would go to jail?
9 through until I told my therapist. Like, I
Okay.
literally thought that just because I was thinking this stuff, like somebody was going to come get me.
And
Or like somebody would see my Googles about it and they would
yeah,
just come pick me up and be like, "Okay, well, you're not allowed to feel that way or like worry about this." And like clearly because you're thinking about it, you are. So, and because you didn't stop that kid when you were 9 years old, um, you are. Um,
what age were your intrusive thoughts about when you were 9? What age children?
it was always about the kid, the same kid. I guess not always. Sometimes it would be about other kids, but like a huge thing to understand about POCD is that it's very like it's not even really about kids. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and that sounds weird, but you'll like so I'm a moderator of a forum about this, like tucked away on the internet somewhere. And people will talk about their experiences, but if you read what they're saying, there's nothing about the kid, like maybe the age of the kid, but it's all
Wait.
self-analytical.
I'm getting
Oh,
a deflection. Are you going to answer my question?
um, the
Do
the
you want to answer? Do you not want to answer?
wait, can you ask me your question again? I feel
I
like I
think
don't think I'm deflecting.
I think um okay, here's one problem with this conversation is that I'm going to try to kind of penetrate to the core of what you're
Okay.
saying.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that you are going to say reassuring things in response.
About me or you?
I don't know. I think in
Oh,
general, but like if I'm like, wait, so I'm because you're saying I was 9 and I was thinking I'm going to go to jail for my thoughts. So I was saying, oh, what age person are your thoughts about? And then like very quickly you're going to like, well, don't worry, like the thoughts are never actually about the
no.
kid.
I think you're being presumptuous. Hear me out.
Hmm. Okay.
A lot of it is yourself. So maybe the kid is in the thought. Like some people will just have like raw, like upsetting thoughts and like imagery. And I've definitely had like vivid imagery. But a lot of it is like obsession about yourself. If you're asking specifically about the thing that happened to me, the kid at the time was 2. Um, so like, and that's another part that was really hard for me to process was like obviously a 2-year-old doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. So like you can't even be
Yeah.
like, this person did this to me and like they were being malicious. Like there's no, I can't, and I don't really want to feel that way either way, but
But
yeah.
you're saying at the time when you were 9, you felt
Hmm.
like you had been like assaulted or traumatized by the 2-year-old. Be-
No, not even. I thought that because
just
I
by the
didn't,
by the experience of not stopping the 2-year-old.
yeah, the experience of
Okay.
not stopping the 2-year-old. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, and I think part of the problem is that I was exposed to porn really young. So there was no like opportunity for it to have been just like a like awkward encounter. Like it just got roped in with what I'd already been exposed to, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
Um,
it does.
okay. But what I was saying earlier is that a lot of it is like self-analysis. So like if I am like having thoughts about what happened, I'm usually it was just like myself. Like I was thinking of myself being bad and how I was so ashamed and my perception of myself in the situation. And there was no like I barely thought about that kid like a lot of the time. And then the rest of the time was just like vivid images.
Okay. So it feels like you're either trying to explain or reassure me that the thoughts are not sexual somehow.
Um,
You're not thinking back over this moment and thinking like, man, that was great. This was so hot, and I really enjoyed that, and I would sure love to do it again, but I'm not supposed to. Like you're trying. It still seems like you're trying to. You're telling me that that was not the nature of your thoughts.
no. Um, I don't feel like I'm trying to reassure you, but it's totally possible that I am. Um,
Maybe you're not.
I don't
Maybe you're
know.
just trying to explain.
I feel like you're like commenting on things I'm doing in real time. Um,
Oh well, actually, you are doing it now too, because saying that is commenting on what I'm doing in real time.
all right, canceled one out.
Are you saying you want me
Um,
to stop doing that?
no, you totally can. I just
You're just pointing it out.
yeah.
See?
Wow.
Welcome to the club.
Can't really consent to a conversation with Mr. Girl.
That's right. This is why. You want to take a break?
Why?
I'm just asking you if you do. You can say no.
No. I'm actually really worried that you haven't eaten dinner. Have you?
I haven't eaten breakfast, motherfucker.
Oh my God. You
Well,
can't
it's
tell me that. You need to go eat food. Or have you been drinking water?
no.
What have you been drinking anything?
Your POCD is hurting me, and literally it's starving me and making me die of thirst. I think
It's
getting
interesting that you
I'm
say
getting a
that.
migraine. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
It's interesting that you say that because this is unrelated, but it made me think of it. I feel like you're living like, and this is part of why I was so drawn to have a conversation with you. Like, I feel like you're living my like 13-year-old worst fear.
That everybody thinks I'm a pedophile.
Yeah, and that you're like irredeemable because nobody will ever see you another way because they perceive you this one way, this one time. Or I guess there have been a few moments I didn't really pay that close of attention because I don't personally really care either way. Um,
Oh, yeah.
but
Wait a second.
what?
Wait a second. You're saying no. You're definitely you're like somebody saying like if I were gay, I would kill myself. But if you're gay, that's totally fine. Whatever you do in the in your is your own business. But I would rather be dead.
Um,
You're a pterophobe. I think you have to be. If you're that afraid that you're a pedophile, I don't see how you can, you know, be comfortable with anybody else being one.
Well, I don't really have POCD anymore.
Okay.
Um, and as part of the moderation, there's of the like rando forum that I moderate,
Yeah.
there's actually like pedophiles that will come in and talk about, and it really triggers some people, which I feel bad about. But they're like, have you ever
I,
heard of like virtuous pedophiles?
yeah. It sounds like, yeah,
Yeah,
virtuous pedophiles. Oh, yeah. It sounds like they're coming in to reassure people, like, this is what an actual pedophile is like. And then people can say, oh, I'm not really like that.
exactly. Yeah, which like you're not really supposed to reassure people, but it
But
is good to have like perspective.
yeah. Wait, so I'm sorry. Uh, I got angry at you and it distracted me. You were saying that I am living your worst nightmare. Continue. I wanted
Yeah.
to know
No, my
what you were.
15 or I forget what age I said, but I think I said like 13-year-old worst nightmare or something. Do you remember?
No. Yeah,
I
I think
think
you
I
said.
said
I think you
13-year-old.
said. I do think you said 13.
Okay. Um, yeah, that you're like irredeemable. But when you called me on that, I think that's true. I think it would upset me if I was. Now you're gonna make me fucking develop the disease again.
Yeah.
I don't know, like logically, I feel like I really don't care as long as somebody, because I like scientifically, it's like developed in the womb. Like it's really, really, really unchosen. Um, so I feel like if you haven't hurt anyone and you don't plan to, then mm, I don't know. I feel like that's something that we kind of have to grapple with POCD stuff as well, is that like people will come in and be like, if I'm this, if I'm a pedophile, I have to kill myself. And
Mm-hmm.
commenters will be like, you really don't. Like, you can just not hurt anyone. Like just because you have OCD or like any sexual orientation, that doesn't mean that you're gonna like do anything. You're still fully in control of your body. I don't know. Dude, this is such a fucking clippable conversation. I hate this.
I mean, yeah. I mean, so from my perspective, and I understand it's probably not a popular view, is that I'm like, so what? Like, if it were me, I mean, and in some ways it is me. Uh, I don't
Because of the
um
spectrum.
because of the cuties, because of the blonde one.
Right.
I don't see I have a lot of sexual fantasies about things that are not a good idea. Some of them are illegal.
Okay.
And I guess I don't see why I can't just have those.
I feel really strongly about that. There
Yeah.
was I don't know if you saw this debate, and I don't want to um like talk about the debate itself, but there was a debate where somebody asserted that like just having thoughts about somebody else, even if they don't know, you're still
Oh,
hurting
what's her
them.
face? Wait, who the fuck was it? What's her face? What's her name? I can't remember who
I
it was.
won't
Who was it?
think her name Riley, maybe?
Yeah, yeah. Riley Grace Rushong. Is that her name? Riley?
RGR.
Yeah.
Yeah.
RGR. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that her last? I think that's her name.
Dude.
Yeah,
Okay.
I DM'd her once. She didn't respond.
Yeah, I feel bad that she got dogpiled so hard.
I mean, yeah, I mean, like, I made that song. I can fantasize about whatever I want. I feel like that, to me, that's like the antidote to POCD. It's like, if you know,
Yeah.
if you like you can fantasize about a 2-year-old if you want to. I don't like so
Um,
what? And
I
like
feel like
I'm not saying so what. Like I definitely get a little uncomfortable talking about like I'm not going to broadcast all my sexual fantasies on the internet.
okay.
You know, not all of them, but if I'm by myself, I'm much more I am pretty comfortable with whatever. I have an anything
I
goes policy.
I feel like the two antidotes to POCD, well,
Yeah.
besides like the treatment for OCD, is therapy and medication, and you can and will get better just like I did. Because I didn't get better with these two antidotes. But the two antidotes
Yeah.
um,
Thought
are
antidotes.
thought antidotes are
Yeah.
nobody can read your mind. Your mind is private. Nobody knows what you're thinking. And pedophiles don't have to kill themselves. They can just not hurt anyone. It's fine.
Pedophiles don't have to kill themselves.
Yeah.
I get, yeah, I don't see why. I find even that a little disturbing as a slogan.
Well, it's not my fucking
Again,
slogan.
well, fuck you. I think if I went around saying like, hey, gay people don't have to kill themselves, it's okay. You know, it just comes. I feel like that might be kind of triggering or destabilizing to people. Like what? Like so? Like if you're gay, just because you have, if you have, you don't have to be gay if you're gay. You know, if you are attracted to men on some level, to whatever extent, vary or somewhat or a little bit, you don't have to go have sex with men if you don't want to. You don't have to.
Yeah. I mean, that's true. You don't
I
have
guess
to.
you don't
But I
have
would
to.
personally, I think that um you're I don't know, I said personally, of course it's fucking personally, but um I think
You're trying to
you're
soften the blow of your incoming
I know
disagreement. I'm
it's a
ready. It's
fucking
okay.
woman thing. It's a
Yeah.
fucking woman thing and it's really annoying. I hate having to
Yes.
like comfort everyone around me all the time that I'm not gonna yell at them.
I too hate women. We continue.
Okay. What the okay. Um
Specifically this aspect of them. But yeah, go ahead.
okay. Um fuck, now I'm distracted. I
You were gonna say my analogy of comparing homosexuality to pedophilia is something that rubs you the wrong way.
No,
I,
I
I
wasn't
th-
gonna say that because I don't want you to ask me about that. I was gonna say though
oh,
that you're forgetting why why that's not why we can't condone pedophilia.
I do
So,
condone pedophilia.
oh fuck. I get acting on pedophilic urges. How about that?
I don't condone acting on pedophilic urges.
Yeah, and so that's why your analogy doesn't really
But like
work.
I think about like shooting people.
I know.
But like um, you know, but like not really.
Yeah.
I guess okay, sorry. Go ahead. You're saying that you want to make it clear that you think it's okay to not only be gay but to have gay sex.
Yeah, gay sex is fucking awesome.
Do you think that the reason that we get confused about like if you say I'm really into serial killers, I know the name of every serial killer, blah blah blah. No, nobody is afraid that you are going to kill somebody. Or if you say like I love watching slasher movies. I like watching the teenage girls get ripped to pieces by the. It's therapeutic for me. Like you could probably talk about that pretty explicitly, and people aren't going to be like, are you a slasher killer?
I don't know, if you said teenage girls while you were
Teenage
talking about
girls.
it to me, I would probably be like, what the fuck?
Sure, you'd say what the fuck, but you're not going to like
Put you in
call
jail
the
for a night?
I just don't think you would personally. You would probably think I'm creepy, but I don't think you're gonna think like I'm literally worried that you are going to put on a mask and start hunting down teenage
I
girls.
might, but I don't think a normal person would.
Okay, well,
I'm just very paranoid.
okay. I guess my broader question is: do you think that sexual urges are harder to suppress? And so that's why if somebody is identified as having them, we think that they're much more likely to offend. And that's kind of why we blur like being a pedophile with being a child molester. It's like because everybody's had sexual urges, and we know that if you're feeling them really strong, people will wreck their marriage, they'll ruin their career, they will go to jail just to get a little taste of some child porn. They'll go to great lengths to satisfy sexual urges, and maybe that is part of why they feel more dangerous to society. Whereas, like, if you just want to, like, if you want to kill your boss, it's like you can. That's an urge that you can manage for the most part. Most people can handle wanting to kill their boss and not doing it. And also, when it's with kids, there's no one really to stop you. So
To be
maybe,
honest, I
yeah.
don't really I don't really have like succinct thoughts about this. I haven't really thought about it before. Most of my like thinking about pedophilia has been like, am I a pedophile? No, I'm not. Am I? Like it's not really about other
Checking.
shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was a meta comment or meta. It was like as we go into the conversation, I know I'm taking a stance of like it's just like any other feeling that so like who cares? But I'm trying to argue for your side to say that like I think societally maybe we do have an understanding that sexual urges are pretty potent, and so being identified as having them, whereas I can say like, well, no, you just masturbate, and like that's all it is. Might is not It's not quite the same as saying like, oh, you just play Call of Duty and like that takes care of your violent urges. It's not exactly the
Wait,
same because sexual urges are, I think, more immediately compelling to act on.
I don't know about that from like a societal standpoint. I haven't really thought about that, but
Yeah.
like in the context of POCD, that actually rings really true for me. I find that a lot of people will say stuff like, I'm scared that I'm having urges, or I'm scared that before I masturbated, I had like thoughts about kids and I didn't notice that I had thoughts about kids, or like I
Yeah.
was masturbating and then I immediately went to TikTok, like, or I was on TikTok and then I
Yeah.
decided to masturbate. And what if it was
Yeah.
because of the TikTok? Like,
It
there's,
probably was.
um,
I got to go to this forum and set these people straight.
good luck finding it.
Okay. So, okay, where are we? Do you feel like there's something that you're trying to get out that I'm keeping you from saying?
Yeah,
Okay, go
I was
ahead.
on my fucking timeline.
Yeah, yeah.
I never
Okay,
even got to finish.
I got stuck.
Okay. Um, So, yeah. 9 years old, thing happened. Obsessed, obsessed, obsessed. Couldn't tell anyone for 7 years. It was like all day, every day. Like, if I wasn't like, even sometimes while I was distracted, like this was like in the back of my mind. And then when I was 16, I was kind of like, holy fuck, I can't hold this anymore. And I've had this therapist who's awesome for 2 years, who's actually still my therapist. Um, and I'm gonna trust her, and she might take me to jail, but I hope she doesn't, because I just can't like hold this anymore. So I like told her the week before, I was like, I'm gonna tell you something, and like I'm really nervous about telling you it. And so she was like, holy fuck, like did this bitch fucking kill someone? I think she was really nervous that I did something like actually really bad. Um, so the next session, I was like, yeah, and this thing happened, and I've been like obsessed with it, but I didn't say it like this. I was like sobbing my eyes out. and like peering through my fingers that were over my eyes. I was like cowering in my chair. Um, and like think about this, and I'm worried about it, and I've like watched documentaries about what happens to people, and like I've read about it, and I just like word vomited the past 7 years on her. Um, and she just laughed and was like, "Oh my God, is that it?" Because she thought I fucking killed someone. Apparently, this is way more common than I had thought. All of my doctors right now, I don't see any OCD specialists. All of my doctors have multiple people with POCD. I saw something, I'm not sure, I didn't think to double check it, but I saw something that was like 10% of people that go to treatment with OCD have this subtype, at least as part of what's going on with them. Like it's really not that uncommon. And I think this is opinion. I'm not a doctor, but personally, I really
Neither am
think
I.
okay. Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Um, I really think that a lot of it comes from like um okay, so this I don't know a lot about like anti-shipping versus pro-shipping. Do you know what that is?
Um, is that like when people say that Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck are fucking,
Um, it's like
and then somebody gets mad and it says they shouldn't say that?
no, it's like people will ship. Did you ever watch Gravity Falls?
No.
Fuck. Um, like if you ship like an adult character and like a child character or something like that.
Oh, Joel and Ellie
Maybe I don't know.
from The
Um,
Last of Us.
maybe I don't
She's
really watch them.
14
Fuck, I don't know. Um,
in the
but
first one.
the reason
Okay,
I
go ahead.
said that
Yeah.
the reason I said that is that a lot of people who will join the community and talk about like why they're so obsessed with the idea that they might be a pedophile are people who like a lot of people are people who are from like the anti community where they're like expose pedophiles, like fuck all of these people, we need to like get them out of society, pedos get the wall, like
Mm-hmm.
and like some of that's good. Like I feel like it's so easy to have this conversation and like invalidate that so many people are victims of child sexual abuse. Like I don't want to have this conversation and be like, wow, everyone who hates pedophiles is crazy. I don't think that. I really don't think that.
Well, I guess yeah, I've been thinking about that too.
I feel like you invalidate people.
Yeah, I'm concerned about that as well. I think that yeah, I mean even when I said I condone pedophilia cuz it's not really what I mean.
I know. Yeah, you do
It's
that
it's more
thing.
it's more like I'm saying I really want to protect people from thought crime accusations or thought crime persecution. It's more. It's not. I don't. I think pedophilia is a mental disorder, but I think that people who have it should be protected from hatred and persecution as long as they don't offend.
Do you think being
And
gay is a mental disorder? Because you just compared earlier. You compared pedophilia to being gay, kind of.
no,
Okay.
because being gay doesn't compel you to do anything harmful.
Okay.
Um, so no, I don't think it's a mental disorder. But I agree that in my in my strong desire to protect people from being persecuted for their thoughts, uh, I do end up invalidating uh, victims of child sexual abuse and
Yeah.
their hatred of pedophiles.
Yeah.
I consider myself a victim of child sexual abuse.
It's okay.
So I think that's also part of why I feel more comfortable leaning in that direction where for my own abuse, I don't see a sexual attraction as the problem. I see a lack of boundaries,
That's
and
actually um
so I guess I'm sorry, I'm monologuing. I
no, I love
see,
it.
shut up. I see, yeah, a lack of boundaries and a lack of self control as the thing that hurts children, not the urge to hurt them. That's kind of how I define it. So, but I definitely don't want to invalidate, as you say, the victims and people who feel like more horrified or angry at the urge to hurt a child. Because I feel like if you have a kid, like you're gonna want to do all fucking kinds of terrible shit to it. And your job
Yeah.
as a parent is to not do that, or if you're around kids, to not do that, and to learn how to manage your feelings. And I think that
Yeah.
I think of sex abuse as the result of people not knowing how to manage their feelings. And I want to encourage people to acknowledge their feelings and talk about them as a way to prevent further victimization. But I agree with you that that's not how all victims see it. Probably not even how most victims see it. And so there is something invalidating about how I talk about that, and it's something I want to work on. And I would like to give you the floor now.
Okay. I'm glad you're working on it because I think that that will make you more palatable and not like in a like you need to appeal to more people way, but in a like you need to not be pushing these people away in your strive for anti-thought crime shit. But
Yeah.
I two things you said really stood out to me.
Okay.
One was that I think it's scientifically backed that
Oh, fuck you.
most what? I'm not gonna say fucking statistics. Oh, I guess I
Oh, that
can. Technically.
most child abusers, child molesters are not pedophiles.
Did you want to say that before me? Is that why you cut me off and said fuck you?
No, I thought you were going to disagree with me, but then I realized that you were agreeing with
No.
me.
No, I'm fucking
I don't
smart.
want you to bring up scientific consensus unless you're agreeing with me.
Okay. Fuck you too. I think it's scientifically backed that most child sexual abuse is not actually done by pedophiles, just opportunistic, like people who are just taking advantage of whoever's nearest. Um, and most pedophiles don't offend. And it's also a misconception. I was kind of mad at you. Somebody said somebody said that you did a stream where you talked to a pedophile, and I wasn't sure after watching it that he was. Um, I would have to talk to him. Um,
Yeah,
no, but
I knew that. I didn't mean to say that.
you know, you said to him, "I think it's likely that you were abused when you were a kid."
Yeah.
I didn't like that. I don't think you should say that to people
Okay.
because if those memories aren't there, we're really good at making up false stories. So if that guy had not been, and you said that to him, and you're like an authority that he trusts, and he like
Wait,
creates false
did I say
memories.
it's likely you were abused or that somebody was
Yes.
abused?
Yes.
Are you sure I
Mm-hmm.
said you and not somebody?
I my perception when I was watching it is that he was like, I feel like I was abused when I was a kid, and you were like, yeah, I think that makes sense with what's
I
going on with you.
I think I might be misremembering this, but I think what I was thinking, or what I wish I would have said, would be I think somebody was abused. I think I said that there's a lot of like evidence. It's that the patterns appear to indicate sexual abuse somewhere in your
I hate
family.
that. I hate that. You really should not be saying that to people.
Okay, but do you, before you answer why or explain why, do you acknowledge that there's a difference between I think somebody was abused somewhere in your family, it could be your grandparent, your parent, aunt, whatever, versus I think you were abused and you don't remember it?
I'm gonna be honest, I really think you said the second one, but I'm open to being wrong. But yeah, I
I might
agree.
have. I don't. I, uh, I would have the same. If I did say that, I would have the same problems that you're having with me saying that. So I hope I
Okay.
didn't say that. If I, if I said I think somebody,
Clippers, get the clip.
yeah. Well, I also don't want to draw more attention to
Oh yeah, Clippers. I mean, that's a good clip.
Yeah, don't get the clip. I think I want to not talk about advice and confessions unless I'm on it. And so I am once again breaking that rule by engaging with you in this. So let's I want to stay away from that conversation. So let me put it this way. I don't have a problem with telling somebody I sense sexual abuse somewhere.
Okay. My other thought about what you said
What's your problem
beyond
with
the
that?
sign,
Other than you're saying it's encouraging people to make up false
you just
memories.
told me you don't want to talk. You just told me you don't want to talk about it, so you have to pick one.
I want to talk about the hypothetical. In a
Okay.
hypothetical, what is your problem with saying I sense with the force, I sense sexual abuse somewhere in this system. I don't know where it is, but I think it's somewhere.
I th I think just because you're not like a rando guy anymore, so saying something like that can hold a lot of weight for someone. So he could go back to his family and be like, "Fuck, which one of you was sexually abused?" And be like thinking of that every time he's talking to his family, and like take you at your word because there's not like I don't know
I don't know that
that. I
that's a
mean, that
bad
would be
idea.
okay. I mean, if you're okay with that, then that's fine.
What's
That was
wrong
just my
with
viewpoint.
encouraging somebody to look at their family's behavior through a lens of maybe somebody was sexually abused here? I mean, sexual abuse is so prevalent that you could almost just randomly guess and still most likely, like, you could take a perfectly happy normal family of a few generations and, say like 50 people extended family, or like 30 people, and say somebody here was sexually abused and probably be right. So if everybody's in that family is acting all fucking weird and like very hypersexual and like boundaryless and like I feel like the odds are pretty good that something happened somewhere.
Yeah, maybe.
And like identifying that, I just think I think that my problem is that normal people, and I think a lot of victimization happens because of this. Normal people look at their families through a lens of course nobody's being abused, everything is fine. And so I think if you have a lot of questions like, why am I obsessively thinking about having sex with children? Why is why are my parents obsessively thinking about having sex with children? How come everybody's afraid of, my uncle being left alone with blah blah blah? You just a series of like data points coming out that raise all these questions. I think at that point it might be worth, not permanently, but at least temporarily, switching to a lens of like, is someone, let's assume someone's being abused and then work backward, and like, does that make sense as a way, as like a sanity check?
I mean, yeah, I guess it's worth considering. I feel like if somebody that I really liked and valued the opinion of told me to consider something, I wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
really think of it as like a consideration. I would be like, you know what, this person's probably right. So, I don't know. Sorry. Well, not really.
You're
Not
sorry that
sorry.
you're sorry.
No, I take it all back. Fuck you. The other thing that stood out to me about what you said is that you said the thing about parents having weird thoughts about their kids.
Mm-hmm.
My mom told me that when I was like a newborn slash like infant, she used to think about throwing me down the stairs, and she was like horrified by the thought. But like whenever she would walk by the stairs holding me, or even not, like she would just think about like flinging me down the fucking stairs. So that just stood out to me in what you said.
Yeah.
Is there anything you don't know about POCD that you're curious about? Why are you laughing?
That you're changing the subject.
Um, I'm actually going back to the subject.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay.
Um, I have a view of POCD that I think will be pretty unpopular
Okay.
with people who have it.
Oh God. Go on.
I think that I think someone in my chat put it this way, or maybe it was my Discord, about in general about intrusive thoughts. I think I don't remember if they were summarizing something I said or someone we were talking about. I don't remember, but they said there are thoughts that you claim authorship of and thoughts that you don't, but they're all your thoughts. And I guess I think of POCD as the self protective labeling of thoughts as not yours.
My God. Yeah. Fuck that. No.
An intrusive implies that they are coming from somewhere else. They're like,
Yes.
yeah, which I don't, being a man of science, I don't see how that's possible unless you think someone is beaming these thoughts into your head. I would think that they have to be your thoughts.
Okay, man of science. I don't think, I mean, of course they're your thoughts, like it's your fucking brain, but it's not,
Yeah.
it's like it's a disorder. It's your brain is doing something wrong. You have a chemical imbalance that's causing you to think about and obsess about things instead of being able to live a normal life.
Okay, well,
You're,
what if we work this from the other side? What if society said, what if Mr. Girl wins? Okay? I win. And
okay.
society says, you know, it's normal to think about throwing your baby down the stairs.
I think it
That
is.
it probably is. And that's why we have boundaries. And that's why we have there's a difference between feeling something and doing something. And if Mr. Girl wins, then it's okay to have sexual fantasies about kids.
But that's the you're that it they're
Hear
not
me out. No, hear me
fantasies.
out.
Okay.
I want to describe this world,
Okay.
the post Mr. Girl world. And in post Mr. Girl world, you can fantasize about whatever you want, including kids
And
and
school shootings.
school shootings, shooting kids,
Hmm.
having sex with kids, whatever, or some combination.
Oh my
And
God.
and in this world where it is no longer stigmatized to have these thoughts or even to discuss them with close friends, partners, therapists, any whoever it's appropriate to talk about your sexual thoughts with. I don't think that POCD would be such a thing. I don't think people would have it. Just like as as gayness becomes more acceptable, sexual orientation OCD, I assume, is reduced. People are just less afraid that they're gay. People
I'm
people
not.
still don't people still don't want to be gay, and in certain families, of course, you don't want to be gay. I mean, most families, I think, even if it's socially acceptable, most families don't want their kids
I
to be
think
gay.
that's a misunderstanding of what homosexual OCD is. I saw there was someone even in the comments on that one tweet. Those comments. Um, one of the people under that tweet said that he had homosexual OCD because he was scared he was going to hurt his wife. Like he was scared that he was going to have to leave his wife. It's not all like it would be awful to be gay because society hates gay people. Like there's different reasons to people to have fuck.
What if it was normal for relationships to be open and monogamy was no longer the norm, and it was assumed that you were going to have sexual urges that fall outside of a heteronormative frame, and you are allowed to, do whatever you want? Do you think he would still be that afraid? My point is that You've got the thought pattern, which causes distress, but the reflector of that distress is society.
I mean, I think
And if society accepts the thing you're thinking about, I think it would cause you a lot less distress. You specifically were afraid of being a pariah. You're afraid of being hated for this, which is what's happening to me.
hated
Right? You
and
said I'm living your worst nightmare.
yeah, but I think it was, I mean, definitely pariah, like being sent to jail, but also just like I'm a very like empathetic person. Actually stole your term Care Bear because I really like that. Like I'm also a Care Bear. And so I think if somebody thought that I did something malicious,
Well, it's not that's a TV show.
I know, but you called yourself a Care Bear and I
Yeah,
thought that was cute.
I did. Well, thanks.
Okay, so I stole it. Um, and I really care. I really, really, really care about other people's perception of me, which is part of why this conversation is.
I understand, but their
Well,
perception of you are society's feelings about pedophilia.
I think they would just switch to another OCD. I think based on the things I've already said that it's worsened by hatred and stuff like that, then yeah, I mean they would just have a different kind because they still would probably have OCD. That it would just be something else.
My point is that having sexual thoughts about children is largely disturbing to the person having them because of how society feels about those thoughts. And if society were more accepting of those thoughts, not accepting of acting on them, but of having them, then I don't think people would feel such a need to label those thoughts as the other, intrusive,
I
disordered, or somehow not part of my own body.
I feel like if I disagree with you, you're gonna say that I'm lying to myself. But
Not just to yourself, but to everybody watching. This is getting personal, so I'm going to zoom in. Go ahead and you can think of your response. I can still hear you.
zoom in. I'm not watching your screen. I don't know what you're doing with your face. Hopefully you weren't thinking. There are other reasons that it's disturbing, like what I said. Like it's not just society will hate me, it's also I don't want to have hurt someone. I have like immense shame and guilt. Like like
You don't want to
I
have
want to
hurt.
feel like I'm trustworthy to be around. I want other people to feel safe around me. I feel unsafe in my own head. Imagine if they knew what I was thinking about. Like people, it
Um,
like distresses you to a point where
do you
like
want me to turn my camera on?
you can if you want.
Hello.
Does it turn on automatically?
I
No,
turned
right?
it on in Discord.
Oh, okay. Now I can see your face.
Yeah.
There are other reasons besides society that it's distressing. So I,
Well, I'm talking about the reason that is society.
yeah, I mean,
Don't what aboutism me.
you can't do that to me in real time.
I'm trying to. Okay, you're saying I'm making the claim that OCD or POCD, part of it or a large part of it is denial of authorship of your own thoughts, fantasies, and urges,
because they are
because
not your.
be, because and you are only doing this because society finds your thoughts, urges, and feelings disgusting.
But you're being it's ego dystonic, like you said earlier. Your
But yes,
thoughts
but
are
your ego, I know, but what I'm saying is you are talking to somebody who, in the face of everybody saying like, who would find the Cuties movie arousing on any level? That's disgusting. To me, the ego dystonic part of that is just that other people don't like that you think that. I think Cuties is a POCD giving laser. It's a virus. Cuties
oh yeah,
makes you have.
I haven't even looked at the fucking poster you reference. I'm not
You gotta
I'm
watch
not.
it.
No, gonna
You
be
gotta
like that
watch
one guy
Cuties.
who
You
commented,
wanna you wanna get really cured for real? You gotta watch Cuties.
no. Um, you're gonna be like that one guy who commented you should show her a picture of a child to scare her. That was
Yeah,
awesome. I thought that was really funny, but somebody said, that's fucked up. And I
I
appreciate
think
that person's intentions, but it was funny.
I think we should make a Cuties commentary track
No.
and sell it, and all the
What is
proceeds.
commentary track? What does that even
Oh,
mean?
it's like you watch a movie and then you give live commentary, and then people can watch the movie and play your commentary at the same time.
That sounds really torturous.
I'm trying to help you.
Thank you so much. I really feel like I'm over it. I really do because I
Then
like
why can't
I
we do a Cuties commentary track? If you're so over it,
um
you should be totally comfortable doing this.
well, feel bad referencing other people, but Booksmarts did say it was not actually that bad. So
Book smarts.
I like him a lot.
Good.
Hmm.
I think he's. I feel warmly toward him on a personal level.
But you've got streamer beef.
We got streamer beef. Yeah, professionally, I can't work with him, but I like him. I like him
Hmm.
well enough as a person.
I can't watch like the majority of streamers because I like I think like I don't really have POCD anymore, but I do still have like really strong like compulsions to tell the truth always. And like if I think somebody misunderstood me or something, I have to go back and correct it, even if I said like I did something Wednesday, but it was actually Tuesday. Like I feel very compelled to tell the truth. And if I feel like other people are lying, it like disgusts me. And I don't feel like the majority of people are telling the truth about how they feel. So I'm very repulsed by a lot of like online people.
Well, thank you. Um, do you think that pedophilia is a spectrum?
You're literally giving me the disorder again. Um, I guess I probably, yeah.
Do you think POCD is a spectrum itself? Do you think it's normal for everybody to have some random sexual thought, some random intrusive alien beamed into my head, weird sexual thought about somebody under the age of 14? And then it's a normal reaction to have that thought and then be like, yeah, that's not. I didn't have that thought. That yeah, stop. Didn't happen.
Um, my answer is yes, but I am so bothered by the idea of somebody like clipping that and being like, "Wow, what a self snitch. This person's actually a pedophile."
Who?
Which me?
It's hot when girls are pedophiles.
Oh my God. I
I don't think people
no.
get. I don't think people get mad about that.
Oh my God.
That's not. That's not. That's not. Okay. Okay. That's not. Let me let me back up. I don't think people get as mad at the idea of a female pedophile as a male pedophile. Do we agree with that?
That's definitely true. That's
Okay.
definitely true. And that's
When a
part of
teacher has sex with like a middle school student, I guess that's not that, depending on the age of the student, it might not be pedophilia, but people men's rights activists have to get on Twitter and remind people to be mad about it. Like they're like,
yeah.
this is rape, guys. Imagine
Yeah,
they switch the genders.
I actually have three close friends in real life who all have POCD. And two out of three are women, which is interesting.
Yeah, and
Because I
I
saw
just don't. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Yeah. So I think that I think people probably are people are aroused by perverted women.
I I don't like the framing of it as perverted because it's an
Hmm.
unchosen mental illness, but I
Well, that makes it
I
even
know what you're
better.
trying to say.
I mean, I think
Yeah.
that makes it even better because
God,
it's like
I'm
you're
gonna
not you're
fucking
not
clip you at this point.
okay. Because that makes it more of a confessional. Like, okay, so if I'm looking for something to read that is going to excite me, a compulsive confession, it feels like it absolves you of the guilt of, like, if somebody's like, I choose to be a deviant pervert, and like, so, and I did this thing and I still do this thing, then you're like, well, you probably shouldn't be doing that. Like I'm trying to think of a.
I don't know what you mean.
I know. I'm gonna give you an example. I'm gonna give you an
Okay,
example.
thanks.
Okay. Say some woman writes a story about how she had sex with who's somebody she's not supposed to have sex with, but like, but you'd kind of like it. Her stepfather.
Yeah, that's a huge fucking trend right now.
Yeah. Okay. So a woman has sex with her stepfather, and so you see a post confession. I had sex with my stepfather, right?
Yeah, you do see
And
that post.
so
People
and
do
so
say
you
that.
so yeah so you click on it because it's and I would like to know more. But in the post, she said, okay, I have a system for how I convince older men to have sex with me. I've had sex with my gym teacher, my piano teacher, my personal trainer, my doctor, my therapist, and now I had sex with my stepfather. Some of the arousal of it would kind of run out because you'd be like, oh, you're a little bit more like a predator, or you're choosing to compulsively do this, and it's not something that just happens to you. So I would say that if someone were interested in reading about someone else's dirty pedophilic fantasies,
Is this
having
a
that,
question or are you just telling me?
I'm just talking. I'm trying to give context to my earlier statement that it's hot when women are pedophiles.
Thank you for the context.
Yeah, that was all in response to you saying that you're reporting yourself. That somebody might think that. That somebody might think that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that really bothers me, but this is, you know,
I really don't think that anybody listening to this conversation is going to be focused on you as the self-reporter, but I guess we'll see.
it's true. I'm talking to the king of fucking self-reporting.
That's right.
Cutie's master.
The cuties master.
No, I actually take it back. I wish I did not say that. Strike that from the record.
Um, yeah, it's not fun being hated for that. One little movie review.
I don't think it's just one little movie review. I think you say things really shocking, like when women are pedophiles, it's hot. But I really feel bad for you that people kind of
Okay. Well,
um
sorry. Go ahead.
just that people dismiss you because of something that I actually really like that you don't clarify it. I think you should keep not clarifying it. I think it's cool that you just leave it. Um, like you don't answer or that you like kind of meme about it. Oh my God. There was something on Twitter where somebody said, I don't play Super Smash. I don't have a favorite Super Smash Brothers character because I'm not a pedophile. And you said, mine's Mario.
I'm a Mario man.
My boyfriend's a Mewtwo main.
Interesting. Can we talk about your boyfriend?
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, I just want to say, um, in almost all of my sexual fantasies involving minors, I am the child in the fantasy.
Oh my God. That is actually that's like a child sexual abuse thing. That's
Yeah.
like a thing. That's a thing. That's not pedophilia. That's something else.
Yeah, I want to be molested. Much more than I want to molest other children.
I think it's different. I mean, I could be wrong because you're you, but like, I think it's arousal of the shame. Like, I think you're like, well, not you specifically, but I've heard people talk about it. Like, the shame is like the only way that I can like process this, like, um,
Oh, so
like
when I
arousal. Like you're like
process,
reliving it.
uh,
Like it's
you,
like
you
a
make it sound
safe
so
way.
medical.
I know. I'm not a doctor. I'm just some dumbass. I'm
Well,
just
not my point. My point is that it kind of takes the fun out of it if you think of your fantasies as processing. That just seems like an anti-shame way of framing it. Like maybe you're just
it is.
fantasizing. I know, but
Yeah,
like,
it was really
I don't
bad.
feel that. I don't feel that ashamed of fantasizing about being molested.
Okay, that's good. I'm glad. A lot of people do.
Yeah. Well, okay. Let's talk about your boyfriend.
Okay.
Um, what does he say about this?
He's just very, very supportive. Um, he doesn't have
Gentle
like
giant,
OCD. He's so sweet. He's actually like a skinny gamer guy. He's not a giant.
gentle skinny gamer guy.
Yes, he's so sweet. He's just very supportive and yeah, like a listening ear and supportive. That's supportive lady. I don't know. He's awesome though.
That's it.
What the fuck? What do you want me to say? He goes with me to therapy.
What do you
He
mean he
is my
goes with you
doctor.
to therapy?
He has gone with me to therapy
He
actually.
goes inside.
Yeah, he goes inside. He'll sit with me on the couch when I talk to my therapist sometimes. I'm not very private about it, obviously.
Clearly,
Like I'm cool with talking about it now. So, and it's also like because
are
I'm
you
mostly over it.
drawing?
Oh no, can you hear that? That's embarrassing. Yeah, a little
What are you
bit.
drawing?
Oh my God. I'm like not an artist though. It's just like
DM me
three
the
really shitty
drawing.
faces. No, fuck you. I'm not doing that shit. It looks really bad. I'll send you something else I drew if you want, but not
No,
this.
no. How did he end up going to therapy with you?
Um, I used to not have a car. Now I do. Um, but he would drive me there, and
How did he
then
go into going inside with you?
what? I would just be like, "Do you want to come in here or sit in the kitchen?" And he'd be like, "I'll come in." I'd be like, "Okay." It's not. I'm not like I talk about POCD with like my friends now who don't have mental illness. Like I feel really strongly that I want more people to know about it because the 7 years that I didn't know that that's what was going on were like oh my God.
Do you think it was like helpful um, for you to have your therapist like kind of normalizing your struggle to your boyfriend?
Um, I he's just like a very kind individual, so I've never really thought about him judging me for anything. I don't it wasn't a big deal for me to have him in there because I wasn't saying anything new. But she has said things to me that like really, really changed my life with regard to POCD. Like when I told her everything and she was like, "Is that it?" Like that sounds
Mm-hmm.
invalidating, but that was like the reality check that I needed because people
Yeah,
will get so fucking wound up and you just like they can't see that they're thinking about shit that like is not worth obsessing over. But that's not how it works. It's not like rational. So you can't say something rational to someone who's having irrational thoughts. That's not how it works. Um, I mean, you can. It might help, but probably not. Because usually, because they're already irrational, they'll find something else to be upset about in what you said.
and that's why reassurance doesn't work.
Yeah, and that's why reassurance doesn't work because you can say, I'm worried I'm a pedophile, and I'll be like, oh no. I don't think you're a pedophile because you haven't said anything about pedophilia at all. And they'll be like, oh, but what if you just don't know? Like, there's just always a way to like spin it back. Like some people call OCD the doubting disorder or doubting disease because there's just always something to spin it back around in doubt.
Right, and I think that I think there's a false dichotomy.
What do you mean?
Just that you have to either be gay or not be gay, or be a pedophile or not be a pedophile. It's
I
like
think
it's
people
just
are
to some
gay.
percentage, to some extent, you're gay, and to some extent you're a pedophile, and to some extent
Do you
you're
think that though? Because I think it's
yes.
widely accepted that being gay can
Oh,
be a spectrum, and but you said pedophilia is a mental disorder, so
I think to quote my um, the fuck was the class called? It wasn't psychopathy. It was like the mental disorder class.
oh, cluster B?
No, I took
Wait,
a
what?
course on
Oh,
like mental disorders.
sociopathy?
No, it was like
I'm
pathology. I don't fucking remember.
okay. They said like everybody's
The
a
all
psychopath.
yeah, all psychological disorders are an extension of normal human experience. So everybody has some component of every disorder to some extent. We've all had
I believe
narcissistic
that.
we've all had narcissistic moments. We've all had pedophilic moments. We've all had psychopathic moments.
Well,
We've all had
when you say we've all had pedophilic moments,
pedophilic
can you see
moments.
how that's alienating?
To whom?
Like,
I'm saying you can look at any disorder in the DSM and say,
I don't think like 98% of people would say, yeah, we all have pedophilic moments.
I know
I
that they
think
wouldn't say that. But and you're allowed to say we all had psychopathic murderer moments though. We've all you could say any horrible thing about yourself.
but
Actually
you have
yeah,
already
sorry, go ahead.
in this conversation you've illustrated that you know the difference. You have said one is a crime. One is hurting
Mhm.
someone.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I mean,
No,
I
what
don't know
what?
why you do
It's
that.
a no. We've all had moments where we want to throw a baby down a flight of stairs too. That's also a crime and would hurt somebody, probably more than pretty much anything else. But yet it's totally acceptable to say that. Not totally
Um,
acceptable, but much
I
more
don't
so.
think it's totally
Not
acceptable.
totally,
I
but my point is
I think
anyway. Hey, hey,
hey,
my point
hey,
is that you can take any disorder and say most people have had a touch of that at some point in some fleeting moment. Sure.
okay.
So yeah, I think to if somebody, I guess I understand the discomfort and wanting to isolate and other those thoughts or feelings, but to me it's just like, well, to some extent it's true, and then to some extent it's not. It's a false dichotomy to say like there's a place of purity that I feel like someone with POCD is trying to get to that I don't think anybody is actually at, of being like, every time I have a sexual thought about somebody under the age of 18, that is not me. That is not real. That says nothing about me, my orientation, or my sexuality. That is just a piece of dirt that I need to wipe away or allow to float by peacefully or whatever the fuck. But it's
Are
not
you saying
me.
that?
It says nothing about me.
Did I say that in my email? Because that's what I usually say. Like, let it float by
Yeah,
like a
but
balloon.
I might have said that anyway because I've heard that a lot with like, just thoughts are
Yeah,
just thoughts.
I
Imagine your thoughts
I
as
stole it
lily
from your
pads on a
phrase.
river. Imagine your thoughts and realize that they're just thoughts.
Yeah,
I read a book
yeah, and
about
that's
that
like
right
super
after
helpful.
my wife left me.
Hold on, what? What'd you
Right
say? I'm
after my
sorry.
ex-wife left me, I read a book about how to like manage your emotions. And one of the things in the book was about I realizing that you're having thoughts. I don't really subscribe to that, as you can tell, but I'm
I
familiar with
think
the metaphor. And my problem
it's really
with it,
helpful. Oh my God. I'm sorry. I keep thinking that you're done talking.
I'm never done talking, so you just have to
I,
start. Just
okay.
go.
No, okay. It's really helpful for people with OCD to do something like think about letting the thoughts float by, because when you have something as stigmatizing and shameful as POCD, like your instinct is, I need to interrogate that. I need to see if that's true, because if that's true, I'm going to be really upset because I really don't want to feel that way for a variety of reasons, and I'm extremely distressed by the idea of this thought
But my
and then
instinct is to
actually
say, when I
having it.
have a thought like that, my instinct is to say, well, of course it's true. Are you fucking stupid? It's all true.
I
Of
mean, that
course
could
it's
be
true.
another thing. That could be another way to deal with it, is just be like, yeah, whatever, who cares? Say what you will.
Yeah. And that
I
must
mean, not a
appeal
way to
to you
deal
on
with it.
some
You need to go to
level. That
therapy.
must
But
be interesting to you on some level. I mean, you're here. You came to me. Let's not forget.
yeah. What must be interesting to me?
The idea of just being like, so what? So what if it's true? So what if I'm a little bit of a pedophile? So what?
What?
Do your
Why does
worst,
me
world.
reaching out to you mean that?
Because you knew that's what I would say.
Not really.
What did you think I was going to say?
I haven't. Well, I was trying to figure it out by watching what you said to the other. I mean, watching another stream of yours. Um,
No.
but
No.
I don't know. I actually wasn't even sure whether to call this like interview or conversation, because I
It's
wasn't
an
sure.
intervention.
Okay. Well, you got to find someone with the disorder still for that.
Okay, what do you think of me? In all this, where are you at? What's your okay? So that's my yeah. That's pretty much my take. Is like, so what? Like, welcome to the club, buddy. That's what I would have said if I were your therapist. But what what do you think of that? What do you think of the stuff I'm saying? What do you think of how I'm acting? What's going on with you? What are you drawing?
Well, just now I was drawing a guy with really fucked up beard, but I'm embarrassed that you can hear that.
Yeah,
Um, so I'm gonna stop drawing. I'm done drawing now.
good.
Um, I feel, well, I feel a lot of dissonance. I feel like, um, I feel very drawn to figuring out why you're like, you feel so strongly about this. And um, none of that is like, oh, he must be a pedophile, that's why he cares, because I don't feel that way. I don't feel like,
Thank God.
bruh. What? I'm just saying what I think. You can't. I'm not.
Go
Okay.
on.
Um, None of that is, I think, that you're a pedophile, but a lot of it is, I think that you thinking everyone else is lying about how they feel is projection. I mean, that just doesn't make any sense.
Can you be more specific? Oh, book smarts. Can you be more specific about who I think is lying or why you're bringing that up?
Um,
It all goes back to book smarts, doesn't it?
I really like book smarts.
Yeah.
But I mean, even in this conversation, you've told me that you know me better um, than I know me, which
I
I
define
fucking
I
analyze.
def I define you better than you define yourself.
I
It's not
think
that I
that's
know you
cringe.
better. It's that
I think that's
I
main character.
define you.
No, that's cringe and main character of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think, I mean, I think it's like I think you just need to like temper it a little bit.
Why?
Um, because if your goal is empathy for everyone, so I, I,
Will
what?
I'm gonna sit through the rest of what you're saying.
Okay, thank you.
Hmm.
If your goal, or even if you just have any goal at all, is empathy for everyone, and then you're like the worst fucking possible representative of your goal, people are going to be like, what's wrong with that goal? I don't want that goal. So if you're like, yeah, we should be empathetic towards everyone, people are going to be like, the guy who says we should be empathetic towards everyone, like, said all this crazy shit and, like, doesn't include disclaimers about shit. I can see you straining to correct me. Go on, what?
Oh, go
I
ahead.
just feel like I feel like there's utility in being palatable to more people than you are, and I know that you want a specific community, but you won't even let that community have fucking emojis, so
No, no
fucked up.
emojis. I'm gonna present you with the empath's dilemma.
Oh my god, don't say you're an empath. Every person who says they're an empath is fucking insane.
You ready?
Okay.
There's a common misconception that being empathetic means agreeing with things that people say about themselves. Well, empathy is the ability to experience and understand the emotions of other people. If someone is lying about their emotions and you are truly empathetic, you will know that they are lying. If you're empathizing correctly, if you're really attuned, you'll know when somebody is saying something about themselves that just isn't true.
How do you know that you are just super empathetic and not that you are fucking crazy and projecting? Like, what do you have a test for that? Like, have you tried to determine that, or have you just not thought about it?
Let me
No
finish, and then
offense.
and we can address that.
Okay, go on. My bad.
So, do we agree so far that everything I've just said is true? If you are truly empathetic, you will be able to sense the emotions of other people and even feel them in some kind of emotional way with your emotional tentacles. And if somebody is saying something about themselves that is not true, your tentacles will quiver in response, and you will know that they are saying something that is not true. Do we agree that, I'm not saying this about me, but do we agree that theoretically this makes sense so far?
My instinct is to disagree because I disagree with
Mm-hmm.
your conclusion, but
Mm-hmm.
I do agree. I'm gonna
Let's
be
go on a
honest.
walk together, and wherever we get to a fork in the path that you think that you need to go your separate way, that's fine. But so far, we're we're or in the same. We agree on the foundation here, right? I'm just trying to present the dilemma. I'm not trying to say something about myself.
I don't think it's necessarily true that you'd be able to sense if they were being dishonest, because if they genuinely feel something, they feel like they're one thing and not another, then you're probably going to feel what they genuinely feel and not the dishonest. I
Um,
don't know that that's
well, I'm
true.
actually. Let me go walk you through it one more time.
Okay.
If the empath,
Oh God.
in this case me, knows what the other person is feeling, and the other person misstates that feeling, either a lie or they don't are not aware themselves of what they're feeling, the empath will know that that is happening. Do we agree on that?
No, I actually don't agree with that because I don't think that people can mind read.
Okay, so you don't think that empathy. I'm not talking about mind reading. I'm talking about empathy.
That
Do
is
you?
mind reading.
Okay, so you don't believe in empathy.
I don't believe that if somebody is feeling a certain way, but deep inside them, there's like an unlocked feral emotion that they are denying, that you will feel
I'm not talking.
bad.
I'm not talking about an unlocked feral emotion. I'm saying the person might be purposefully misstating how they feel.
Oh, I mean, if they're lying, I do think you can sense when people are lying. Yeah. Yes.
Okay, if you're if you're empathetic, and the person is lying about their own emotions, do you agree that if you are correctly attuned to that person's emotion, you would then therefore be able to draw the conclusion that the person is lying? Because I sense what you're feeling, sometimes very obviously. Sometimes the person is crying openly, and then they say, "I'm fine." That's an easy one because everyone can empathize with a crying person. Everyone knows that that means, "Oh, I'm upset," but the person's words don't line up with what they're saying, and so you know, "Oh, you're lying about how you're feeling." And the more empathetic you are, the more subtle cues you pick up on, and the more times you are going to think people are lying about their own emotional state. Do we agree on that?
I think I'm disagreeing with your conclusion and not
Great.
this,
Well,
and
could you
so I
stop?
don't
Could
want to
you
say
stop?
yes.
That's not good faith. That's not a good faith
Oh
conversation.
shit.
So
I had
I
good
implore you to
faith.
stop. I would implore you
Holy
to
shit.
stop doing that. And can we just get through this because we're getting stuck and we're going in a circle over and over again. And so you need to concede that you're not able to actually be walked through my train of thought here, or and then we can move on. I can give up on trying to explain this to you, or I guess those are only two options. Or you can be good faith and we can get through this.
All right. Yeah, I
Which
think you can feel if somebody's being dishonest about their emotions.
okay, if you are more empathetic than the other people in the room, then you have a problem because you're looking at Dr. K and you're saying you're not who you say you are. You're not really feeling what you're saying you're feeling. There's something else going on, and only about 2% of people who watch you can see it. You come across as crazy, for sure, and you can point out to the things you're noticing. You can point to the things you're noticing, but it's not really going to be that convincing to other people who don't see it or who don't connect to it in the same way. So I would say the empath's dilemma is that you get put in situations where to truly empathize with somebody, sometimes you have to disagree with their own statements about themselves. And I would, in my personal life, I do this all the time, especially with Shaylin. Especially with Shaylin.
Is Shaylin
Constantly.
your mod baby, or are they different people? Is Shaylin a mod? I didn't, when you say
What a
like
juicy
baby,
rumor. No, baby's name is Baby.
no, it's not a rumor. I just when you say like baby, bring up
No,
the next person.
baby's in voice chat all the time.
Voice
No,
chat.
baby. Yeah, you can voice chat with Baby.
Okay,
No,
got it.
he's not just a mod. He's the admin.
He sounds like corpse husband, or no?
Yeah,
Wait, I'm sorry. I'm distracted.
baby talks like kind of like this. He's like, yeah, hey, Mr. Girl, how's it going? Max, how's it going? Yeah,
New York gangster,
well,
kind of.
yeah, kind of, sort of, you know.
Or like
Except, but he's always talking about like
Jersey.
he's talking about like you know, emojis and
Where'd
you
you
know
find him?
reactions.
Emojis.
He found me. He reached out to me, and now he's the
Damn.
admin of the Discord. Yeah, I've been working on my baby impersonation a little bit because I was telling Shaylin about a conversation I had with him, and I just started doing this, and this is how he talks for real, you know, all the
Can
time.
I ask?
Yeah,
Can I ask you something that like don't you don't have to like answer this? I
fuck you.
feel I do agree. Well, do you not want to talk about the Dr. K stuff? It's okay if you don't.
We can talk about it. I would like to finish my
But what
empath's
you're saying,
dilemma.
what you that's what you connected it to. And
Yeah, no, I'm connecting to it to give you to help you empathize with how it feels to be talking to somebody and be sure that they are lying about something or hiding or misrepresenting something, and have everybody else who's listening to them take them at their word. And then the dilemma is, if you say I don't believe what you're saying about your own feelings, you come off as very unempathetic, even though that could be driven entirely by empathy. But
I think
it
you're
could
right.
also be projection, and
That's yeah.
projection is experienced identically to empathy, but it is the opposite of empathy. You are actually eclipsing the other person's emotional experience with your own. You are completely blind to them. You're not
I
seeing
think
anything at all. And that's the dilemma, because if you're the only person who sees or feels in someone else what you are seeing or feeling, you have to know that if you state that out loud, it might be the most empathetic thing that you could possibly do and say, the most helpful thing for that person to make them feel and actually help them be the most understood, or it might be the worst thing you could possibly do, which is to narcissistically eclipse their or even convince them that they're experiencing something that they're not actually experiencing because you're experiencing it.
I think that you're right. I think you are in the right, but I think you are I think there must be some sort of projection because I personally don't believe in like a metaphysical or like extra like sensory like
It's not, no, it's not
um,
extrasensory.
it
It's just
is. It
it's
absolutely is. To
no,
see
it's not.
someone through a screen, you're not even there. Through a
A
screen and
lot of
say,
it's
I
just
know what's in your
deductive
head.
logic. No, it's not. It's not a magic trick. It's as a result of being terrified of unhinged parents with no boundaries, learning
Yes,
to sense people's emotional states and
I
deduce their
know.
emotional states through with very little information.
I
And I try to use this power, curse, gift for good. But of course, it can't always
um
work out that way.
I so I'm just gonna hope my mom doesn't find this, but my mom I have very similar things with my parents where I like super perceive other people's state of being
Mm-hmm.
and like I'm like hair trigger about it. Like I cut not like cut people off, but like if I feel like somebody is like a liar or like at all like dangerous, like I know that and I like will stay away from them.
Mm-hmm.
Um and so I know what you mean about like being able to read someone's mood and then be able to like feel that in a way that's different. I know I think I understand what you mean. But it is also true that I've done this and like been wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Oh
know
yeah,
that.
you can always
I
be
have a
wrong.
friend I have a friend that I absolutely adore that she did something that made me feel really weird and I was almost gonna like stop being friends with her over it or like start pulling away because I felt threatened by it. But I talked to my therapist. I love my therapist. And she was like, I think you should give her another chance because I think you might be overreacting a little bit, but in a like with peace and love way, not in a like you're being dramatic way. Um, and yeah, I was absolutely overreacting and like sensing something that wasn't there. And
But
now
aren't
she's
but
like one of my close friends.
okay, but you're encouraging me to do that because
No,
yet no,
what?
listen. If I think Booksmarts is lying to me, the most empathetic and relationship saving thing I can do is tell him that. What you're asking me to do is just A, not think it, which we both know I don't believe in, or B, not tell him. And by
Um,
telling people what you think they are feeling, you give them the opportunity to respond, to know that's what you're thinking, to engage in it. So if you'd said to your friend, like, hey, I feel like you don't care about me. I feel like you're lying to me. I feel like you are going to betray me. Having that conversation and exposing it to air could help you figure out if you're projecting or
I
empathizing.
feel I feel like because you know it's coming from a place of like having to be really sensitive about it
Mm-hmm.
instead of like purely like methodical, like there's a way I can tell. I think you're talking about it as if like you know when somebody's lying, but you've already kind of said that
Knowing, well, I don't have I don't have things I know.
Oh my God.
Knowing is an experience. I don't have an objective sense of knowledge.
All right. Well,
And
then
so
I have no
you're
fucking idea.
imagining that there's like a higher level of knowing that's for like things I really know, and I'm saying I don't have that. So when I say I know you're lying, I'm saying it the same way. I know that I'm wearing pants, but I like, you know, they're it's an experience. I can't tell you how many times I've known I was wearing my glasses only to reach up and feel that they're not there. So I knew it, but it wasn't true. That doesn't just because I know something doesn't mean I can be wrong.
Okay.
Let's
I
let's
don't
bring it back
really.
to Dr. K.
Okay. Okay.
What were you gonna say about Dr. K?
That was it. I I
Do you support my crusade against Dr. K?
yeah, I really do.
Okay, let's be honest.
Okay.
If you and I, through our powers of empathy,
Okay.
got the sense that Dr. K has a well-rounded grasp of the effect that he is having on other people, that he himself is empathetic, that he has good intentions, and that he really wants what's best for Twitch, gamers, young people. Would you still support my crusade, even though he's technically broken these rules?
I support your crusade because I really trust scientists and scientists and doctors have decided that this is not appropriate behavior. So I'm just gonna go with what they say because they
Okay,
like
are you
perfected their
is
process.
any part of your support bolstered by a sense that he is not who he says he is?
No, no, no. It's just purely that like scientists
Do
and
you
doctors have decided there's a way to do things.
okay? Do you believe that he is who he says he is?
I would be honest, I haven't really watched that much. I don't really know. I don't
Oh, okay,
really feel
okay. So you
strongly
don't
about
you
him
don't
as a
have any kind of
person.
like personal investment
No, not at all.
in
No.
Dr. K. Okay.
Maybe if I'll watch more of his stuff and then get back to you.
Yeah, because I go back to the rules and the ethics guidelines are really important. And like I think even if I was number one fan, I would probably still be saying like you can't do this. But would I report him right away? I don't know. I think some part of what is fueling the crusade is a feeling that like I know what you're saying about yourself isn't true. I just know it, and there's no way
Do
for
you
me to
feel like you're
convince.
avenging something? Like, are you like avenging like yourself or someone else by doing this? Like, is it
I think I am in some ways avenging Wreckful. I'm not proud of that. I'm more proud of thinking of protecting the public and future victims and current victims. Some part of me just wants revenge. Yeah.
I appreciate your honesty. I think I would be wary of assuming that people who can't tell you what they would want what you're doing.
Wreckful wouldn't want what I'm doing.
I don't
I
know.
know. I know.
Okay.
To the extent you can empathize with the deceased, based on watching quite a bit of Wreckful content, I think it's pretty clear that he would not want me to do what I'm doing.
Okay. This is verging into territory I don't really know that much about, so I don't want to like
Well,
give any.
hypothetically, I think we can whatever. You said be careful, and I'm saying no. So I don't.
Okay.
You don't really have to speculate beyond that. I'm saying I myself don't feel that I'm doing it like on his behalf or anything. That's not revenge is not about the person you're avenging. It's about yourself.
Okay.
I said that the internet itself has POCD.
I really liked that.
Yeah, do you think that's true?
Um, I don't know. I feel uncomfortable like fully being like, yeah, that's 100% true.
It's
But
an
when you
interesting
said that,
idea.
yeah, it's an interesting idea, and I think it's interesting like to kind of main character you for a moment, like to think of like you as like a like the person, and then like everyone saying that you're a pedophile, you're irredeemable, you're irredeemable, like that is like that that is how I that's what I feel like I'm seeing
Yeah.
sometimes. So when you said like I feel like the internet has POCD, that made me picture that even stronger.
Well, I mean, especially because I'm clearly not a pedophile. I feel like that's like I know I shouldn't clarify, but like I just mean in an objective sense. If you take everything I've done and said and added it up, it doesn't in any sort of clinical or like real world sense of the word. It doesn't really add up to pedophile.
Are you asking?
Um, I guess my point is, I'm hated more than someone like EDP 445.
Someone like who?
Oh, you don't know EDP?
No.
Oh, let me tell you about my man.
Okay.
He was a YouTuber, and somebody pretended they were 13, got
Oh my
him.
God, wait.
Yeah. This happens to a
Was
lot of
this like in like
YouTubers.
2013?
No, this was like 2 years ago, I think.
Oh fuck. Okay, never mind.
Like
Different
like a
guy.
year and a half ago.
Ooh, it
Somebody
happens
convinced
sometimes.
him to go meet a 13-year-old for sex and then filmed him. And then the person who filmed him got banned and he got banned. But people hate me more than they hate him. And I think it's the ambiguity. I think it's almost because it's almost that I'm not a pedophile, but I'm still saying these things anyway. That makes people hate me more. Whereas if you're literally just a pedophile, I think that like people hate you, but it's like I guess there just isn't much to like talk about at that point. I don't know, but I think the POCD part is like the fear,
Yeah.
the not knowing.
No, I definitely endorse the analogy, I guess.
Okay,
I,
so
yeah.
what do you think? Do you think this is a problem that the internet is hyper fixated on whether people are pedophiles who probably aren't? Do you think it's a problem that the internet is fixated on that? And like, what do you think
Yeah,
about it?
I do because I think if we focus so much on like, is this person I will never ever know a pedophile? You're missing stuff in real life that matters. Like like if you actually cared a lot about like finding out if there's like abuse in your community, there are ways you can go about that through like education, through like I don't know, like becoming a social worker and like advocating for kids and like promoting um like conversation amongst families. Like there's ways that you can do that, and I feel like, but I don't want to I do feel like a lot of the people who are involved in the like anti pedophilia crusade are like people who were victims. So I don't want to say like, oh, it's so stupid, don't do that, why are you doing that, just like go be a social worker, like that sounds really invalidating.
Yeah,
um so it's more complicated
they want
than,
revenge too.
yeah. So
I guess my problem with it is that it's not labeled as revenge. The anti pedophile sentiment usually is it uses very violent imagery and almost violent tactics. And the fantasy is that you throw pedophiles into a wood chipper. And I guess my that's not really about protecting children.
wasn't it like a lead bullet or lead therapy?
Yeah, Vosh said that my fans need lead therapy. Vosh said I'm such a pedophile that my fans deserve to be shot.
That makes me really, yeah, that makes me upset.
Yeah, that's psycho. But
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with protecting children. But
No.
so I guess that's my problem with it. If pedo hunters or the pedo obsessed were more, or just not even the individuals, but just the internet itself. If this sentiment were more honestly just like, you know, it's a it's a group of people that we feel okay with hating, talking about killing, and that's like feels good to do that, rather than it's somehow moral or virtuous to accuse people like Call Me Carson, who
Yeah, that was crazy.
what he sexted with a 19-year-old or something, or a 17-year
I
old.
think they were like 1 or 2 years apart. I don't remember the
I think it was
ages.
like they were like maybe 19 and 17, and it's like
Yeah, that shit
he's a
that actually
pedophile. Like
really
that's in,
bothers me.
well yeah, because like you said, it just it takes the true horrors of child abuse and human trafficking
Yeah.
and like child murder and kidnapping, and then replaces it with a very safe thing of like sexting a 17-year-old. Like who fucking gives a shit? And I do think I agree with you. I do think it displaces any real concern or advocacy that could be happening, and it's also just horrible to him. Like it's so awful.
Yeah, this is something I feel really strongly about. Because on one hand it like super affects people with POCD, obviously. If somebody says having a crush on someone 2 years younger than you or whatever is like super fucked up. Like that's normal. Like that's my parents. That's like almost every parents that I know. Men like scientifically mature 2 years slower or some shit like that. Like it's normal to be 2 years apart, but then people will come to the forum and be like, I have a crush on someone who's 2 years younger than me. Like, should I be shot? Like, it really bothers me.
People,
And I
I
think
think
that,
part of it's porn. People think that because it's illegal to be in porn if you're under 18, that somehow is like reality.
um,
But like the age of consent, I think somebody in my Discord helpfully just tallied it
oh,
up. I think they said 31 states the age of consent is 16.
oh, a libertarian.
I don't think that's libertarian. That's just checking the checking the laws. I don't think they're saying it should be 16. They're saying it is. In most U.S.
Um,
states, you can fuck a 16-year-old. Is my
I don't know. I
understanding.
just associate age of consent memes with libertarians.
I know, but
Sorry, that guy. You're not a libertarian.
I reject your association.
Thank you for rejecting it. Now I self-crit and I'm better for it.
Good. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what it is. That yeah, making porn with a 17-year-old would be like a felony, but
Yeah.
but dating one, even if it's illegal, even if you're in a state where the age of consent is 18 and you're 19 or 20, you're probably not going to face any consequences for that because nobody fucking cares. But for some reason on the internet, it's, I don't know, it feels like an alternate dimension where, yeah.
Another a connected topic that's really interesting is shows like Euphoria or like any show set in high school and how they'll show like teenagers having sex, but it's
Right.
like adult actors. But
Yeah.
if it were actual teenagers, like you'd be in jail like for watching it. But they're like, look at these two teens having sex on screen. And
Yeah. And it's
it's
like
like,
normal.
yeah, I really don't like that. I can't watch Euphoria.
Really?
Yeah, I can't do it.
What would happen if you did?
Um, I would feel guilty.
Yeah.
It really bothers me that you haven't had dinner.
I haven't had breakfast.
That's fucked up.
Your POCD is hurting me. Your ex POCD is hurting me.
Pancakes OCD? What is this?
Pancakes OCD, yeah. Can't stop thinking about whether I've had my pancakes.
I can't stop thinking about whether you've had your pancakes.
That's what I meant, you, not me.
Oh, okay. You were me, and I was thinking about your pan. Yeah.
I was you.
Wait. You said
What?
you haven't drank anything today, but you have that fat fucking jug, so now I don't think you're telling the truth about eating.
It was true when I said it. I had
Okay.
the jug here. I had not drank any of it.
Okay.
Now I have.
Is my camera on? I'm so paranoid that my camera is on and I just don't know.
No.
You
My
should have
disc.
said yes.
My no. That would be me lying to you. My Discord is not connected to my OBS anyway, so even if you turned your camera on, no one would be able to see.
Interesting.
Yeah. All right. Well, I feel like we've reached the end of our conversation for the most part, unless there's any subtopics you want to delve into,
Subtopics.
or do you have any
Um,
announcements you'd like to make as a advocate in the
announce.
POCD community?
Um,
It's not just a disorder; it's a community and a lifestyle.
oh God. Um, I wrote down some hot takes just in
Okay.
case we ran out of shit to say.
Go ahead.
Do you want to? Okay.
Yeah. Let's hear him.
Um, well, my first hot take was I really like your song, I Kill Pedophiles. And it's duo song, but I can't find that anywhere. What happened?
I kill pedophiles?
No, the other one. I
What's it called?
um
I can't remember. Can you say the title?
clippable moment.
It's on my channel. It's just very. It doesn't show up in search, but it's on my channel.
Because of YouTube censorship? Or
Yeah.
did you do that?
No, no, I didn't do that. It's public on my channel.
Oh,
But it's yeah, and that's not so algorithm friendly.
no. My other hot take is it really bothers me when I see, I don't know if you've ever seen this, but sometimes young people, like minors, will say that they're like maps.
Yeah.
And I literally want to tell them, I want to be like, please read about this disorder and tell me if this connects with you at all,
Yeah.
because I, I wish that you were more protected online and like, I feel bad. I feel really bad for them, and I want them to know, fuck, they don't have to commit to saying they're a minor attracted person when they're a fucking minor. Like that's you.
Right. That's normal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's you. It's actually really interesting that the disorder I feel like skews very young. Like they're even like people who say I'm 13, and then we have to be like, don't say you're 13, please. Um, I'm 13, and I'm worried that like I have a crush on my 11-year-old friend. Um,
Jesus Christ.
it's actually it's very sad.
Yeah.
It really skews young, and there are a lot of women with this disorder. A lot of women. It's not like I saw somebody, I forget if I already said this, but somebody said that they were surprised that there were any women with it, but no, it like
Yeah. On Twitter, somebody replied to it. Yeah.
yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I guess the only other thing that I would want to say is that you can absolutely get better, and I'm proof of that. There's so much treatment
And
out
so am
there.
I. So am I.
Did you do you feel like you had this?
No, but I think I just went in the other direction. I think I
Trying.
look, if you're uncomfortable with the idea that maybe you're a filthy person, you can either just become filthy or you can I guess be convinced that you're not a filthy person.
Okay. Um yeah, there's a lot of treatment. There's like medications you can take, like SSRIs are really helpful, or there's like anxiety medication that you can take as needed or daily. There's
Are you
different kinds of therapy.
are you still taking medication for
Oh yeah, I will
POCD?
be taking medication my whole life. I have other shit too, so you know.
Okay. What do you think would happen if you stopped? Or what is it for, I guess? What does it do?
Right now I'm just
Almost
taking Wellbutrin.
okay.
What? I
What does
love
it like?
Wellbutrin.
What does it neurologically do for you? I guess is what's the
I'm big.
purpose of?
I'm big pharma right now.
I know. What's the
Um,
purpose of the medication?
um, so kind of like what you were describing earlier, I'm diagnosed with complex PTSD, which I really hate saying because people think that that means I have PTSD but worse. But that's not true. It's just different. It's
It means
just
you're an
like
empath.
no, it's just like that you experience like trauma or neglect over time instead of like an
Hmm.
isolated event and then you have PTSD. It's more um
What is the
like a long-term feeling of helplessness.
what are the meds for?
um, Depression and having trouble getting out of bed. I have like um, two tiers of anxiety meds, both as needed, and one is for like if in the moment I'm like anxious, but I don't need like a more serious medication.
Hmm.
But if I'm like, oh my God, I'm having like a panic attack or flashbacks, or like I can't seem to like break myself out of thinking I'm somewhere that I'm not, like I can take the stronger one.
Thinking I'm somewhere that I'm not,
Yeah.
like a hallucination.
No, like a flashback, like,
Oh,
yeah,
a memory so strong that you think it feels real.
yeah.
Do you literally think it is real, or it just feels real?
It's weird because it's kind of like distorted. The last time this happened, like really bad, was last semester. Um, and the professor said like a phrase in class, and I didn't think that it was going to bother me. And then immediately I like just got like flushed with panic and went to the bathroom and tried to like pull myself together, but just like could not. And so I had to remember how to get back to my dorm room. And then I got back and I was still trying to like soothe myself, but I just absolutely could not stop thinking like that I didn't know where I was, even though I knew where I was.
So
And
like
like
a
just couldn't shake.
disorientingly strong feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I was emotionally and like physically re experiencing something, but like on a conscious level knew that I wasn't. But I think some people have it where they literally don't have the level where they know they're not there. But I typically know that I'm not there on some level. But yeah,
Yeah.
but that's not POCD. That's different. But yeah, Wellbutrin helps. I used to take crazier stuff because they used to think the complex PTSD was bipolar because I was so like reactive um, and like kind of argumentative. Mm,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, but
I
that was
noticed
not
that.
true. Really? I
Yeah.
feel like I'm nice. Oh,
You're argumentative.
so were you.
See?
Okay, well, anyway. I used to be on like antipsychotics and stuff. I was actually prescribed lithium for the bipolar, and that's what got rid of 80% of my intrusive thoughts like permanently. Like I only took it for like a year and a half. Um, and like most of my intrusive thoughts went away. Like it gave me enough of a brain buffer. And that's what the Wellbutrin does really well for me. Like a lot of people hate brain fog. Um, and like numbness is not, if you're taking a medicine that's making you feel numb, that's not the right medicine for you. That's not how it's supposed to feel.
I don't think you
I
should
don't
be
feel,
giving psychiatric medication advice.
okay.
I'm
Um,
concerned that this conversation is drifting into you spilling your medical history.
Lithium was really helpful because it got rid of 80% of my intrusive thoughts and like permanently.
Yeah.
And it was awesome. And that was like really pivotal in my path to not having the disorder anymore. And Wellbutrin gives me brain fog a little bit, along with helping with depression. So the brain fog is like a buffer where like if I stop taking it, which is what you asked me, I don't really have the buffer anymore, and I have like much more raw emotions, and can't. I have a lot of trouble stopping myself from obsessing over stuff. like, did this person perceive me this way? Yeah, thank you. I am not a doctor, so strong disclaimer.
Okay. Well, last question. How do you feel about how this conversation went?
Well, now I'm sweating because I feel bad because you said it sounds like I'm like spilling my medical history. Um, but I feel good about it otherwise. Um, the main reason I wanted to talk to you is I don't feel like people talk about this. And it's a very like secret, like people feel like they can't tell anyone, and that stops people from getting help. And I feel very strongly as somebody who like went through this and is now over it, like that I just really never want anyone to feel like I did when I was a kid, that I like was going to go to jail if I talked about how I was feeling and thinking. So I just wanted to talk about it. So yeah, that was my only that was my goal. And yeah, thank you for using your platform to allow me to do that. Do you feel satisfied?
Yeah. Thanks for reaching out. I think that obviously we have philosophical differences, of course, but I obviously it's a topic near and dear to my heart and near and dear to my content's heart specifically of like what do you do when you feel so bad about your thoughts?
Go to therapy, take
Go to
medicine.
therapy. Go to therapy. Yeah.
Unless you can't access it. I also, yeah, disclaimer. I understand that therapy is really hard to access for a lot of people. So that sounds very dismissive to just be like, go to therapy.
Fuck that. Go to therapy. No, figure it out.
But I
That's
do feel that
part of
way.
going to therapy is figuring out how. It's
Yeah.
part of the journey.
Yeah, but it's super worth it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. Well, unless you have anything else to say,
Nope.
I think we're done. Um. All right. Well, feel
Do
free
you
to
feel
stay in touch.
satisfied?
Uh. E- Satisfied? Yeah. I feel I'm gonna have to digest it for a while. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I don't know what I think.
Okay. Did I say anything you didn't know about the disorder?
I think you gave a fuller picture of the experience of it. I've been aware of the disorder for a while, so it's not.
That's awesome. Like
Yeah,
how?
just
How?
people posting. I read a lot of forums about like narcissistic parents and obsessive thoughts and
Mm,
shame. So I'm. I think any kind of common weird, perverted, mental thing, I'll probably know about it.
cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Chat. I feel like there might be more male pedophiles than female, but I get the sense that women are usually more attracted to cute kids and aware of that connection to sexual feelings. Yeah, probably. I think that a lot of that awareness comes from less stigma. If you're a male, it's a little weirder to be like, "Oh my god, what a fucking awesome looking little baby." I'm kind of disappointed she didn't get to lay out counter arguments to your theory about POCD. I don't know if you can make counter arguments to it. I feel like it's just a way of looking at it. Also, I think that she said, if she's saying, you're going to give me the disorder again. I know that was a joke, but I don't want to argue about it too much. I think it would be interesting to have someone currently struggling with the disorder. I think it would too. How much more negative would the reaction to the stream be if she were a man? A lot, a lot more. I think that might be actually one of the reasons that more women have the disorder. Seemingly, it might just be that more of them either know they have it or are more comfortable seeking help for it. I don't know. You should say step one to therapy is figuring out how to go more. Yeah. That also is a little self-protective of being like, I don't want to be referring to people or giving people specific advice, but I do think that the healing starts with figuring out how to do it. I think one of the reasons your Vosh conversation went so poorly is you have a history of being accused of being a pedophile and he's defensive about it. For example, he has admitted to masturbating to lolly porn. Yeah. I know, but that's what I didn't know he was defensive about it when I asked him to talk about it. I thought I was I didn't know that it was like a touchy subject for him. I thought it was more like he was unapologetically like, this is what I think, this is what I believe, and like, fuck you if you disagree with me. Because that's how he gets very angry and animated when he's talking about it. I didn't know that when he's doing that, he's divulging stuff about himself he's not actually comfortable with people knowing or talking about, which is how I see it now. I thought he was just very unapologetically like, yeah, fuck that. Like lolly porn, whatever. Child porn should be legal, or I guess shouldn't be legal, but should. Is that what he said? I can't think of a moral or legal argument why the consumption of child porn, whatever. Is your fantasy to be called a fucking awesome little baby? I don't know. Max, do you tend to use cognitive or affective empathy more? I don't know. I think it depends on the situation. What are your thoughts on POCD before and after this interview? Do you believe that she seriously has POCD? Yes. Or that she did? Yeah. She didn't get into the torment of like obsessive thoughts too much, but I assume it was there. Yeah, I do believe that. Did Destiny defend Vosh on that? I don't know. All I've ever seen is that one clip. It was out of context. No, I've seen the context around it, and it's not out of context. You can't. It doesn't matter. I have never seen a legal or moral argument about convincing argument about why child porn should be illegal or why the consumption of child porn should be illegal. There's no context that changes the meaning of that sentence. But I've also watched the full video because people kept saying it was out of context, and didn't change anything for me, at least. It's probably that women are more comfortable seeking therapy and not being stigmatized for seeking it. Not necessarily they have POCD more often. Yeah, maybe. Wicked Supreme says, I think Vosh just thinks there are certain people that are appropriate to kill. He feels the same way about Nazis and stuff. Yes, I specifically remember saying that I'm very disturbed by that. There is a violent streak in Vosh, almost a murderous streak that I find terrifying. No, I don't. It's probably not that unusual, but yeah, he's there's like a militant aspect that like I am very politically uncomfortable with. Do you think there are parallels or overlaps between therapy transference and what happens in parasocial relationships? I don't know, because with a therapist, are you saying that I am imparting my mental problems onto people who have parasocial relationships with me? That's kind of a disturbing idea. Or you're saying that people are taking their stuff out on me? I think transference is a necessary and healing part of therapy because it gives you the opportunity to act out stuff in your life with the therapist and then go back and you are better at it in your life. But in a relationship with a streamer, that care and attentiveness is not there. So it's like the bad parts of transference without the good. I came a little late. What is the P in POCD for? What the fuck you think it's for? Can you share your sub count with us? I think it's like 1,100. Your camera's looking really good. Thank you. Like the insightful discussions too. Keep it up. My therapist of 7 years is not taking face-to-face meetings because of the pandemic, but I feel that Zoom therapy isn't as effective. Would you recommend seeking a new therapist? I am not going to make any recommendations about you, your therapist, your relationship with your therapist, or COVID. No, I will not answer your question. Everyone thinks you jumped the gun on calling out people's lies or hidden feelings because everyone believes they're the only ones with their problems. Like she was surprised to learn other people had POCD. Yeah, that makes sense. Like, yeah, I guess I just see everybody as constantly misstating or not knowing how they feel, including me. And so to me, part of like normal intimacy is just pointing out to other people that they don't feel the way they are saying they feel or that they think they feel. But I understand that's not a common social interaction. When is the horny panel? I don't know. I'm working on that. I like that you're doing panels, but I hope you take more of a driver's seat in future panels. Part of the problem with the typical Twitch panel is the host simply picking the topics and then letting the guests go. I think you should pick topics you have strong opinions on, and you should drive the conversation to keep it more interesting. More interesting than what? My last panel? People were complaining that I was talking too much. Can you confirm that you are a rich streamer? I wouldn't say I'm rich. I'm not rich. I'm on my way to getting rich. What I would consider rich. Upper middle class. But I've only been making a living from streaming for a month. So it's pretty hard to say. When are you forgiving wicked supremacist? I forgive him already. We just have irreconcilable communication differences. Certainly, and he himself says, certainly it's true that a person can be in denial. Yeah. I would say beyond true that it's inevitable. Did you see you got over 700 gifted subs? Jesus Christ. No. I didn't. Thank you to Loser Mods Relief Fund and be grateful to all mods. Okay, so my sub count is actually 1,800. It was 1,100 when you asked me that. That makes sense. Buy Mr. Girl merch now. I didn't mean to say that. Do you think removing the stigma of pedophilic thoughts will lead to a reduction of pedophilia? Yes, I do. A reduction of child abuse? Yes, I do. I I really do believe that. Um, because it will make it so much easier to get help. I mean, you could hear how much trouble people are having for getting help, even for unwanted thoughts about kids. That if I think we got to get all the pedophiles into therapy. I'm like the Hitler of pedophilia, except instead of concentration camps, I want to get them into therapy and get them helped. And I don't want the armband thing. I guess I'm not. It's not a one-to-one analogy. Mods do it for free for now. I have committed to starting to pay mods once my Patreon hits 300 patrons. I will start issuing them a monthly stipend. Do you think that it might be grateful to all mods as gifting 70 tier 1 subs? Thank you. Do you think that it might be the case that it's impossible to know what you feel or want in reference to any given thing? To some extent, we may have to choose that we feel a certain way. Yeah, that makes sense. That's a good argument. That at a certain point, you have to just decide, like, which of my thoughts are me? I don't really feel it. I think about this with relationships a lot. So, like, when I was married, there were parts of me that were like, I don't want to do this anymore. But marriage is a binary. And so in that situation, you have to, you at least have to label it like, as that's a feeling. And like, is that a feeling like, am I just going to watch it float by like a lily pad on a river? Or is that a feeling that I actually have to do something about or engage with, or have to talk about it? Ultimately, your actions are finite. And so you do have to decide how to categorize that. And so that makes sense with like the POCD thing of like, you're deciding this isn't part of my identity. But I think I advocate for a much blurrier kind of definition of your own feelings and even identity. Like, I don't like sexual orientations. I'm very against that. Why wouldn't removing the stigma just end up normalizing pedophilia? I want pedophilic thoughts to be defined as a sexual fantasy about raping a child or hurting a child. The same way a violent thought, it can be, I want to play Mortal Kombat because I want to rip a woman's head off. I don't think normalizing that normalizes the action at all. And so I want to be clear that my problem with why we don't accept pedophilia at its heart is that I have a problem with people not being able to tell the difference between feelings and actions. And so that is the difference I want, because it makes it so that you feel, when you think something, it feels like you did something, and other people feel like you did it. And I think that imprisons our minds and hurts our imaginations and emotionally cripples us and forces us to be distant from each other. And so I'm not so interested in pedophilia as a topic in itself, but only because it's the best example of the clearest example of people's willingness to drive these emotional and psychological wedges between each other and in the kind of isolation that happens as a result of that. So I don't care about pedophilia as like a cause or a movement or an idea or an orientation or whatever the fuck. I don't care about that. It's that I want people to learn to accept and love who they are internally, and to be able to share that with other people in spite of a lot of those thoughts and feelings being horrific and disturbing and harmful to other people. Not right. And so when you saying, is it going to normalize pedophilia, you're implying that link between thoughts and actions is going to stay. And so if we normalize thoughts, then we're also normalizing actions. But what I'm saying is I want people to separate their understanding of that, like thinking about all kinds of sick, weird shit is normal. That doesn't mean that you are going to do it or that you have to do any of it. And so that's the understanding that that it's like intimacy, emotional and psychological intimacy. That's what I am advocating for, not the normalization of crime. I think the laws should stay as they are. If anything, the age of consent being 16 in over half of U.S. states is too low. You're doing real on-the-ground work. I feel myself opening up to myself from your ideas. Thank you. That means a lot to me. I appreciate that. Because people have a compulsion to further participate in risky behavior as they progressively do it, with the reasoning they've not been caught and reprimanded, and essentially, once they've crossed the threshold of doing something bad, they're unlikely to stop themselves from further engagement. Yeah. I think we got to be real clear about the boundaries with sex crimes, especially against children. I think that we need to stop that and take that extremely seriously. I want expressing your thoughts to not be seen as a risky behavior. I don't know if you're responding to what I said. Mr. Girl's goal is to spread his ideology, after all. Is it an ideology to think is an ideology to think that thoughts are not actions? In Christianity, thoughts are sins. So, but it's not true. It's not an ideology. It's just true. Yeah, I guess that part is an ideology. It's a frame of. I'm not. I guess I want to be clear. I'm not trying to spread ideology like you should think this about Ukraine. It's more like a tool for that I want people to use to get closer to each other and themselves, not. I guess I'm saying that it's a good thing, and so that there is ideology there. Yeah, that's true. I wonder if your lights are bright inside the window of the house behind you. Yeah, this light is super bright. Yeah. In Christianity, all thoughts are lies from Satan. You are not your thoughts. Max, do you think you become your thoughts if you don't try to control or guide them? I paradoxically think you become your thoughts if you try too hard to control or guide them. I think that you should. I don't know what you should do. I'll say for myself. I find myself more able to manage and moderate and control my behavior and become less impulsive the more I am in touch with my thoughts. Do you think Hassan would ever talk with you? I don't know. It would be interesting. It'd be a weird conversation. I think. Can you speak about the psychology of exercise? I feel like I've been caught in a 15-year loop of getting motivated to exercise for brief periods of time and then going back to being lazy. How do I break this cycle and make some form of exercise a habit? I would make a plan that is less. Okay. You're going to feel like your exercise plan is either too much or too little. It sounds like you're choosing a plan that is too much, which is sustainable as a sprint, but exercise needs to become a lifelong pattern, like brushing your teeth. And so I would always try to get clients to form a relationship with working out and dieting that's more like brushing your teeth, which means it really needs to be not too invasive, not take up too much time by your standards. If you enjoy it, then sure. But I would be conservative with your routine. And like, if you only lift weights one time a week, versus 3 times a week, it'll be different. But the difference between lifting weights 1 time a week and 0 times a week is massive. So I would very conservatively form a really easy routine that feels too easy, far too easy, and then see how that goes for like a couple months. And then if you want to add, you can. But it sounds like you're not doing a good job of judging what is actually sustainable for you. Do you like the city of San Francisco? Yeah, I do. What I meant is the people who associate thinking about that sort of thing are more likely to engage in them if both thinking and actions are considered as abhorrent as each other. Oh, yeah, yeah, good call. If you're stuck in the rationale that thinking is just as bad as acting on your thoughts, you're less likely to seek help for thoughts and more likely to act on them. I see what you're saying. So if you're having fantasies that are defined as the action themselves, then you start thinking of yourself as a criminal already, and that might make you more likely to actually be a criminal. Whereas if you're accepted with loving, caretaking therapy arms as like, of course you have those thoughts, but you know what? That's okay. Then that can help protect you from wanting to actually offend. I do not live in San Francisco. I have lived there though. Do you like the cable cars in San Francisco? Yeah, I like the cable cars in San Francisco. Okay, I'm going to read the donations. We have one donation for $3 from Professor Ragnar. What do you think about reading one of your old newsletters at the end of each stream? I personally think chat would love it. Also, if you have any old raps you think are worth playing, that could be great too. I will think about that, and I appreciate your suggestion. Age, sex, location. Chill out. You chill out. Can you do the baby voice again? Yeah, I gotta warm up to a little bit, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. San Francisco is a shithole right now. I don't know. I skipped your question. Do you have any fetishes or fantasies? I do. Want to hear mine? This is not an appropriate forum for that. No, I don't want to hear your fetishes or fantasies. And I'm not going to list mine right now. Okay. I'm going to see. All right. Thank you all for attending this POCD interview. My next stream, most likely, unless something else comes up, will be Wednesday at 2:45 p.m. Eastern, and it will be my Russia-Ukraine expert. And I have the living room is all set up. I got the other camera. I got the chair. I got the lights, and it should be informative.